depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Ahead of tomorrow's NFL trade deadline, the Giants traded defensive lineman Leonard Williams to the Seahawks for a second-round pick in 2024 and a fifth-round draft pick in 2025. The Vikings' fears confirmed today by an MRI. Quarterback Kirk Cousins suffered an Achilles tear yesterday, will miss the rest of the season. So the Vikings have some decisions. One, what to do at quarterback if they want to maximize their postseason chances with Cousins out. Another involves one of the best receivers in the NFL, explains ESPN's Dominique Foxworth.
How do they keep Justin Jefferson? And they're going to need to sign somebody at some point or draft somebody with some promise to keep Justin Jefferson involved in wanting to stay here. He's going to be available or free agent soon enough, and they'll probably franchise him or at least threaten to franchise him. But to keep him there and keep him happy is a whole nother ball of wax. They need to figure out that quarterback spot.
Dominique Foxworth on Unsportsmanlike. Jefferson can become a free agent in 2025. NBA, ESPN's Mark J. Spears reporting Kings guard De'Aaron Fox has avoided a serious right ankle injury. Source expressing optimism Fox can return within a week's time.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muse. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. My goodness gracious. Finally upon us. Bama Hate Week, y'all. LSU, Alabama this Saturday. We got a lot of long week to talk about it. Saints go on the road and get a win against the Indianapolis Colts 38-27. We'll get to that here coming up in the next segment. A really big spot for the Saints, in my opinion. Maybe one that could be the season saver for the New Orleans Saints. If the Saints do turn this thing around, I think we'll come back to what happened on Sunday and look at that and say that could be the pendulum swinger. Thank you. Radio guy forgot his headphones. Thank you, Muse. I appreciate it. So what happens? It's Bama week, right? We're all out of sorts. And Peter Burns next hour, Uncle Larry coming up next hour as well, I can hear. But let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, y'all, it's LSU Bama week. Brian Kelly was at the podium for his weekly Monday presser to preview the game. And this was not altogether unexpected, but still disappointing when we got the confirmation on the defensive backs, notably Zy Alexander. But LSU is going to be shorthanded in the secondary.
Deuce is not available. Denver's not available. Zy is not available. Ashton Stamps will practice today.
So we did not expect Deuce Chestnut or Denver Harris to be available. They've not been with the team. We've talked about that enough. Zy Alexander, the word we got after the Army game was that injury was serious, could be season-ending. Did not expect him to play against Alabama. Brian Kelly confirmed that. So, what do you do? Here was Brian Kelly.
They've been around long enough now. I mean, you're into the season now, 8 games. They had, some time here in camp and some mid-year enrollment. So to say that they're inexperienced, yes, they haven't played a lot of SEC games, but they know what they're doing. They understand our techniques. They know what's expected of them. So we're in a position where we feel comfortable and confident that they can go out and get the job done.
Here's the bad news. The bad news is you're down your best cornerback in an already bad secondary. Zy Alexander had been your best guy. There's no other way to say it. And now you're going to have to count on a triumvirate of young players behind Sage Ryan and LaTerrence Welch, and that includes Javian Toviano and Jeremiah Hughes and Ashton Stamps, who you heard Brian Kelly say there. Muse, can you play 26, please? But Brian Kelly pointed out something that we talked about the Monday after the Army game. And it's, yes, this is a little bit of sunshines and rainbows and lipstick on a pig, but these are young players that were talented enough to get a scholarship offer to LSU, and they need to be ready to go.
They're elite players coming out of high school. And now you're putting them in a position where they just have to be confident and trust their technique and trust what we've taught them. And so now it's taking that trust and putting it in from preparation to performance and playing emotionally at a level which allows them to do their job. And I think we've been at it long enough now where these guys are ready to go. They got no choice, but these guys are ready to play. And they're young. Many have said inexperienced. I get it. They haven't played a lot of SEC games, but these guys are really good players. And they'll get out there and they'll compete for LSU.
We gave a couple examples of this last week. 2013, Rashard Robinson. He was late getting access through the clearinghouse. He didn't practice at all in fall camp. Showed up the week of the opener against TCU and boom, was on the field in Jerry World. Dude was like 160 pounds soaking wet. He was a pencil running around making plays. That year was a true freshman, locked down Mike Evans in that game in 2013 in the rain in Tiger Stadium. 2017, Greedy Williams, who redshirted as a freshman, was not good enough to play as a true freshman, redshirted. 2017, you got an injury, you got a suspension, and then boom, just like that, he's starting against BYU, gets a pick, goes on to have an All-American season. If you're good enough to be recruited by LSU, you got to be good enough to play. Again, I understand. Your first significant action on the road in Tuscaloosa against Bama is not ideal, but you have no choice at this point. But just to point out where they are, back on September the 7th, Brian Kelly was asked about Javian Toviano. Remember, Toviano was a guy who was here in spring, and they loved him in spring. But they moved him all over. They tried him at nickel. They tried him at dime. They tried him at the boundary corner. They played him at safety. They just experimented a ton with Toviano in spring. And then he wasn't out there in the opener, and you saw all the struggles at corner, and the question was like, Coach, where's Javian Toviano? Remember, this was September the 7th. Here was the answer.
We like Javian. We're trying to bring him along at the nickel position, and I think it's a process, that we're involved in. And these are the tough decisions that you're trying to make. Is he somebody that can play more than 4 games at a high level for you and contribute where you don't redshirt him? Or is it He's going to get right to that threshold and maybe a couple of special teams performances. So we're not going to do anything until he's ready, and he's not quite ready yet, but we really like his upside. And when he's ready, we're going to play him.
That was 2 months ago. When he's ready, we're going to play him. That was 2 months ago. Well, ready or not, you got to play him. Kelly told you back on September 7th. They were trying him at nickel. It's safe to say that Sage Ryan's going to be your boundary corner. We'll probably see LaTerrence Welch or maybe Ashton Stamps. You're going to see Jeremiah Hughes and maybe Toviano there in the nickel, how it's all going to play out. But ultimately, you're going to have a lot of young dudes running around in that secondary, and it's time to grow up in a hurry. The other really bad news that Brian Kelly gave on Monday was about Mekhi Wingo.
Mekhi had surgery. He is out for the season.
Out for the season.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I would say this. The projections are 6 weeks, so we'll see where that goes.
There is no sugarcoating this. Mekhi Wingo is your number 18. He was an All-American a season ago. He's a veteran interior defensive lineman, and you would love to have Mekhi Wingo ready to roll in Tuscaloosa against an offensive line that at Alabama that has really struggled this year. Alabama, their offensive line is super vulnerable. I don't know if you're aware of this. Alabama has allowed 35 sacks through 8 games. Let me put this in the context for you. That is 126th in the country. There are 4 teams in college football, 4, that have allowed more sacks than Alabama. Northwestern, Wake Forest, Colorado, and Old Dominion. That's it. Alabama, the Alabama Crimson Tide. 4 teams have allowed more sacks than Alabama. You have an opportunity. The fewest amount of sacks they've allowed in a conference game this year is 4. You have a real opportunity to go wreck stuff with Jalen Milroe back there. It would have been way better if you had Mekhi Wingo. You're not going to have Mekhi Wingo. So you need Jordan Jefferson to step up. Brian Kelly said today that Jordan Jefferson has actually been their highest graded interior lineman this year. Great. You'd love to have Mekhi Wingo. You don't. The guys you have need to go make it happen against a vulnerable Alabama offensive line. Look, y'all, we could sit here and focus on all the guys that aren't going to be there defensively, and it's legitimate. Zy Alexander is your best cover corner, period. You don't have him. Mekhi Wingo was an All-American a year ago. You don't have him. Greg Brooks was the glue of your defense. He was your most veteran, most consistent secondary piece. He was your quarterback of the secondary. You don't have him. You would undeniably be better with all 3 of those guys. You don't have them. And I'm still going to say today the same thing I said the day the season kicked off. When you have an offense like LSU does, and this was before I knew LSU was going to have literally the number 1 offense in college football. This is just when I thought they were going to be really good on offense. They're elite. The point is now the same as it was then. You don't have to be elite defensively. You just have to be good enough to complement a great offense. Do you remember that? I've reminded you enough of it. But we went through every year of the college football playoff and looked at the national champion. And there were only 3 that were in the top 15 in pass defense. That great 2019 LSU team, their pass defense ranked in the 50s. The 2020 Bama team ranked in the 70s in pass defense. You don't need to be great defensively. You just got to get enough stops to complement your elite offense. Can LSU do that Saturday? Can this shorthanded defense do that in Tuscaloosa on Saturday? Can you be good enough to get enough stops to make Alabama play catch-up and get out of their game? That's the big question. We'll get the answer on Saturday night in Tuscaloosa. Tigers, Brian Kelly confirms, will be shorthanded defensively. Okay, it's after further review. Our show open is brought to you by Bud Light, official beer of LSU Athletics. Our friends over at Mockler have stepped up to the plate big time, y'all. They have given me 3 tickets to Saturday's game to give to you. Here's what we'll give them away on Wednesday. You got to go to social media. You got to use the hashtag Bama Hate Week. Post a picture, a video, whatever you want. Bama Hate Week. Your best picture or video, Bama Hate Week. Hashtag Bama Hate Week. And you got to tag me at Matt Moscona. And you got to tag Mockler Beverage. Go to Twitter, X, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, any of the platforms. Your best Bama Hate Week picture or video. Use the hashtag Bama Hate Week. Tag me and tag Mockler Beverage. And on Wednesday, we'll pick the winner who's going to get 3 tickets for Saturday's Clash in Tuscaloosa. We're looking forward to it. All right, it's after further review. And thanks so much to our friends at Mockler. They've been great partners. I mean, they flooded us with tickets to give away during the College World Series. They gave away those sweet tickets to the Garth Brooks concert. They're great community partners, as we talk about all the time. That's why I'm proud to stand behind Mockler Beverage and Drink Easy in Louisiana, Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, Saints get a win that might have saved their season. We'll talk about it next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. You know where they are. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Y'all, this is probably it. Tomorrow's Halloween. Clegg's still has a selection of pumpkins in stock, all different sizes, and they're 50% off. So when they're gone, they're gone. If for Halloween you want to do Halloween pumpkin decorating, pumpkin carving, you want to just decorate your front porch or patio for the trick-or-treaters, get by any of the Clegg's Nursery locations. Again, it's 50% off pumpkins. It's not too late to pick them up. So if you're heading home from work today, you want to get a pumpkin or pumpkins for painting, decorating, or carving for Halloween, get them now at Clegg's, because when they're gone, they're gone. That's at any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
2nd and 5, ball on the 42. Clock moving, under 6 minutes to play. Carr to throw, middle of the pocket, looking, throwing deep down the middle, looking for Rashid Shaheed. Catch! See you later, bye! Touchdown, Rashid Shaheed! 58 yards.
Mike Hoss on the call, Saints Radio Network. Saints beat the Colts 38-27 in Indy on Sunday. Here was Dennis Allen after the Saints get the equalizing win.
Proud of the way our team fought and competed today. We did a lot of good things. Obviously, there's some things we got to get cleaned up. I think that's a good football team that we played. But I thought our guys responded to, call it the mini bye or whatever, and came back and we did some good things. So it was a good team win.
If the Saints turn this thing around, if they go on to win the division and make the playoffs, which is very much in play, I think we will point to this game. And specifically, the moment in the game in the second quarter when the Saints were down 17-7. You're down 10. You're down double digits in the second quarter. And remember, I don't know that you could have started much worse. You get the ball and you punt. They score a touchdown. You get the equalizer. Then they kick a field goal to go up 10-7. Derek Carr fumbles. Remember, it's the strip sack fumble, and they get a touchdown. They're up 17-7. And keep in mind all of the noise. And my hand's in the air. I was a big part of it. I'm not telling you I'm piping down, but the negativity around Dennis Allen. Should he replace Pete Carmichael? Derek Carr yelling at Chris Olave. Michael Thomas going to Twitter to kind of co-sign that Carr screwed up. Olave getting arrested. Everything. All of the noise. 3-game losing streak. The report from Jeff Duncan that 30 players on your roster, roughly half your roster, hadn't even opened up their tablets to look at game film. All of it. All the negativity. And then there you find yourself in the second quarter down double digits. In the second quarter, on the road. It would have been so easy to fold. It would have been almost expected at that moment to fold. And what did the Saints do? 8 plays, 75 yards for the touchdown. A beautiful play by Alvin Kamara. No, forgive me, that was the Taysom 20-yard run. Taysom scores, you force a 3-and-out, and you go down and you score again, and boom, that was the deep ball to Shaheed, the 58-yarder. And that deep ball to Shaheed that you heard coming out was the one that put the Saints up 21-17, and might be the one that we look back to and point to and go, that was the moment where the season turned. Yeah, you gave up the field goal before half, but you went into halftime with a 21-17 lead, and you were getting the ball to start the second half. It would have been so easy with all that noise, all that negativity, to find yourself down double digits in the second quarter to fold. Instead, touchdown, you got the lead. And from that point, from being down 17-7, the Saints outscored the Colts. They outscored the Colts 31-10 the rest of the way. On the road. You overcame a double-digit deficit early to win by double digits. On the road in the NFL, that is not an easy thing to do and shouldn't be overlooked. The New Orleans Saints, did not play a perfect football game. The defense had their issues. They gave up the 2 long runs, 40-plus yards, 1 to Moss, 1 to Taylor. I mean, you had some moments in this game that were hold-your-breath moments where you were waiting for it to collapse, but maybe that was the biggest thing about this game, is that you did overcome adversity. The Derek Carr fumble, which led to a touchdown. You're down 17-7, as we mentioned. touchdown, 3 and out, touchdown, boom, you're up 21-17, just like that. Third quarter, you're up 21-20, and Paulson Adebo comes up with the big interception in that moment, which was so big because you're up 21-20. They're in field goal range. You're thinking at this moment you're going to be down. You're minimally going to be down by 2 after they kick a field goal. Maybe they score a touchdown here. Now you're playing from behind. Instead, Adebo gets the interception, and from there you go down and you score to extend your lead to 8 at that point. You're up 35-20. You'd built your lead to 35-20. You're feeling good at this point. 8 minutes to go in the game. What you can't have happen is allow a quick score. You're up 35-20, and what do? You allow a 6-play, 75-yard touchdown drive in just 2:30. You allowed the quick score. And now they're within a touchdown. They're within 1 score of you. And you punt. And you give them the ball to go down for the equalizer. And you got them behind the sticks on a 3rd and 18. And you allow them to convert a 3rd and 18. And at that point, tell me you weren't just sitting there like I was, like everyone was expecting the worst at that point. When they converted the 3rd and 18, tell me with a straight face you weren't expecting Indy to go down the field, get the equalizing score. Instead, the Saints went incomplete, punt. You got the ball back, you went down, you kicked a field goal to go up 2 scores, and that was your final. When they had to make the play, Carl Granderson, who's been awesome this year, Granderson gets hurt. He's replaced by Isaiah Foskey. Foskey, who early in the season was a healthy scratch, comes up with a strip sack, which is a scoop and score. Now, they called it back on replay. Called it an incomplete pass. But still, huge play there by Isaiah Foskey when Granderson had come out of the game. When you had to have moments, you got him in this game. A couple other things that were takeaways from this ball game. I know there's been a lot of conversation around Chris Olave, and I think it's justified. We can talk about the body language and all that sort of stuff. Those are intangibles, and I don't know that I'm qualified to talk about all that. What I can say is this. You had an opportunity to put that game away, and he let a walk-in touchdown bounce off his helmet. Chris Olave has no right to be disengaged. He led your team with 9 targets. They are trying to push the ball to Chris Olave. And of the 9 targets, he came up with 5 catches. Rashid Shaheed had 3 targets. Anybody know how many receptions Rashid Shaheed had? 3. 3 catches on 3 targets for 153 yards and a score along of 58. By the way, that had only happened when you've had as few as 3 catches to go over 150 yards. That's the 3rd time in the history of the Saints organization that's happened. Michael Thomas had 7 targets, caught 4 of them. Kamara had 5 targets, caught 4 of them. They have pushed the ball to Olave. But right now, he's not your number 1. Michael Thomas should be your number 1 target. Rashid Shaheed should be your number 2, if not inverting those 2. The other thing I'll tell you that was a big takeaway from this game, and I'm going to hat tip our buddy Mike Triplett, who comes on with us here on Thursdays. And he tweeted this number, and it's something that it's almost mind-boggling that this isn't a more commonly understood statistic. The New Orleans Saints are 17-1 all time when Taysom Hill has at least 7 carries in a game. On Sunday in Indianapolis, he had 9 carries for 63 yards and 2 touchdowns. Let me say that again slowly. The New Orleans Saints are 17-1. That's not a small sample. 17-1 when Taysom Hill gets at least 7 carries in a ball game. I'm not smart, but I think it's pretty obvious that Taysom Hill should get at least 7 carries in a ball game because of what it forces a defense to do and to respect. The game for New Orleans was far from perfect. We talked about some of the defensive mishaps in the ball game, and those are legitimate. Tyrann Mathieu missed a tackle that allowed one of the long runs. You did allow the 3rd and 18 conversion. Rough day for Marshawn Lattimore, who led your team in tackles. And when your best cornerback leads your team in tackles, that's generally not a great thing. You allowed 371 yards and 27 points. There was a lot in this ballgame that wasn't great, and a lot of things that you can fix. And I'm not going to overreact to the offensive output for the Saints. It was great to see, and I certainly hope that they can replicate it and continue to replicate it moving forward. But if you were just to be a prisoner of a sample size of one game and say, look, Saints offense is great, then the flip side is, if you believe the Saints offense is great after one day yesterday, then you got to believe Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs stink, because they played a Denver team that allowed 70 to Miami. They did not get in the end zone, and Mahomes was 24 of 38 for 241 and 2 picks. Don't be a prisoner of the moment of one game. But look at that and realize that's the potential of what you can be when you're efficient. The offensive line was very good, in particular in run blocking. Derek Carr was decisive. He spread the ball around. All of those things are very encouraging when you look forward. And speaking of looking forward, look at what the Saints have ahead of them. Y'all, injuries are unfortunate, but they're part of the NFL. They happen to every team. And sometimes you get lucky where a game falls on the calendar based on who's available and who is not. The Saints were unlucky during the COVID year when they played the Miami Dolphins at home on Monday Night Football, and the Saints had to start Ian Book at quarterback. Do you remember that story? Like, you had players and coaches introducing themselves to other in the pregame locker room because of COVID had just decimated your locker room. Well, the Saints are catching a break. You win the game against Indy to move to 4-4. You're now Atlanta lost to the Oilers, Titans, Oilers, whatever. Unis look really good, though. I'm going to call them the Oilers for the sake of this conversation. Atlanta loses to the Oilers. You beat Indy. Now you're tied at 4-4 for the division lead. Chicago is coming to the Dome with a quarterback that was playing Division II football last year. No Justin Fields. And after you play Chicago at home, you go to Minnesota, who just lost Kirk Cousins to an Achilles injury for the rest of the season, and you're not going to see Justin Jefferson either. Remember before the season started, we did that bit where we said, hey, the Saints defense may be great by the virtue of the fact that all the quarterbacks you play stink. That was including the fact that you were going to play Kirk Cousins, who might have been the best quarterback you faced all year. Now you're not going to face him. Who you face in Minnesota is TBD. So if you win the next 2 weeks, you're 6-4 going into your bye, and then coming out of the bye, you play at Atlanta, who just benched Desmond Ridder. Sometimes things like that line up for you. Now, you have to go take advantage of it, and that's the sign of a good team. In the NFL is being consistent. The reason the majority of the teams in the NFL clump together in this sort of homogenous blob of 7, 8, 9 wins is because it's really hard to break free. And then sometimes when you're really bad, you just fall to the bottom. That's why you have the elite upper tier teams and the really crappy teams that always pick at the top of the draft. Most of the NFL falls in the middle because it's really hard to be consistent. This is the Saints' opportunity to be consistent over the next 2 weeks, get to 6-4 going into your bye, recharge, go beat Atlanta, and take full control of this division. Or you prove you are what a lot of us think you are, which is a middle-of-the-road team in the NFL, and you find a way to lose either to Chicago or Minnesota. We'll find out. But the next 2 weeks are huge for New Orleans. And if they do turn it around, we're going to point to the Saints being down 10 on the road to Indianapolis, the Taysom Hill touchdown, the 58-yard bomb to Rashid Shaheed to give the Saints the lead as the turning point of this season, if it comes to that. Make a note of that, mark it down, because if this team is playing into January, we'll look back to Sunday in Indy as to why. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Glad to have you aboard with us here. We'll go around the SEC when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. You know where to find them agent225.com, agent225.com. Remember, if you're thinking about selling your home, don't put a sign in the yard and do the for sale by owner thing. Do you know that 73% of people that list their home for sale by owner end up hiring a realtor? Maybe it's you're not accurately listing your home at a fair price. Maybe you just don't have time to be there for showings, whatever it may be. Save yourself the time and the money and call Darren James. I got another reason why it's the best decision to call Darren James. It's the guaranteed sale program. It works like this. Call Darren James. He'll agree to a price and a deadline. If Darren doesn't sell your home at that price by that deadline, he'll have your home bought with cash or he'll sell it for free for his half of the commission. You have nothing to lose. So get packing. 335-7666 for Darren James.
Think real estate. Think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Hey, quick reminder, 2 weeks from today over at the Williamson Eye Center, going to be a cool event, just an open house. Hopefully, a lot of you can come out. If you've heard me talk about the Williamson Eye Center and you're interested in learning more about LASIK or the EVO ICL, that's the implantable contact lens, any of the refractive procedures, the Williamson Eye Center is having an open house again 2 weeks from today. That's Monday the 13th from 6 until 7:30 p.m. at their Bluebonnet location. So that's if you turn off of Bluebonnet onto Picardy and then right there on Suma, the building right there in front of the Baton Rouge General, That's where it'll be. Dr. Blake will be there. The staff will be there answering questions. I'll be there. I'm not sure. We're talking about Hester coming out. I'm not sure if Hester's confirmed, so I don't want to speak for him, but it'd be a great opportunity. I think there's going to be some whiskey tasting as well. Very, very informal. So if you want to come out, say hello, meet the staff, would love to see you. Again, that's 2 weeks from today, November the 13th, at the Williamson Eye Center. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com. Real quick, the SEC announced today they're exercising the 6-day hold for the LSU Florida game. So we know LSU will be primetime this week against Alabama on CBS. So the three options for LSU and Florida in Tiger Stadium are 2:30 on CBS, 6 o'clock on ESPN, or 6:30 on the SEC network. Just for those that aren't familiar with how this works, the way that the game times are determined is that CBS, as you all know, gets first choice, and then after that, ESPN slots the games as they see fit. And CBS has the option of exercising a 6-day hold to see the results of the next week's game. So basically, as you look ahead to this weekend in the league, obviously the big game of the weekend is LSU-Alabama. Well, if LSU beats Alabama, think of it this way. If LSU beats Alabama, one thing that I know, and I've been told this over the years, is that CBS wants at least one game in Tiger Stadium every year. And we all know that the LSU A&M game is not going to be in Tigers, is not going to be a CBS game because they're going to pick up the Iron Bowl, or maybe Georgia Tech. There's Florida State. There's a lot of, I actually don't know if that, I think that is a home game for Florida. So that would be CBS. We know that last weekend, it's not going to, LSU Texas A&M is not going to be the 2:30 game. It's most likely going to be the Iron Bowl because it generally is. And then the week before that, of course, LSU plays Georgia State. That's not going to be a CBS game. So LSU Florida would really be CBS's option to have a game in Tiger Stadium. And if LSU beats Alabama, then obviously having LSU coming off the Bama win, playing Florida in Tiger Stadium, keeping in mind Florida has a home game this week against Arkansas, where I don't know the line, but I'm sure they'll be favored. So if LSU and Florida both win this weekend, then that becomes a really appealing matchup. The other option is Ole Miss at Georgia. So that's really the options. Look, Tennessee, Missouri is also a ranked-on-ranked matchup, but really what CBS is waiting to see is, does LSU beat Bama? Because if LSU beats Bama and Florida beats Arkansas, then LSU-Florida is likely your 2:30 CBS game. If LSU were to lose in Tuscaloosa, then that Ole Miss-Georgia game is going to be the 2:30 game, and LSU play Florida at night. So that's basically what they're waiting on. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. We do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Georgia Bulldogs, the Florida Gators.
So Georgia and Florida, looks like their rivalry game is not headed back to campus. So in a couple of years, the stadium there in Jacksonville, Everbank Stadium, is going to be getting a 2-year makeover. And instead of bringing the game back to campus for those 2 years, Florida and Georgia are expected to open up a bid to NFL stadiums that are ready to host a game of this magnitude. What would very likely happen is in 2026, when Georgia's the home team, the game would be in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And then in 2027, when Florida's the home team, it would be either in Orlando, in Tampa, or in Miami. The reason is it's a financial win to play this at a neutral site game as opposed to being on campus. So don't expect this game to go to campus when Jacksonville's renovating the stadium.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
4-star quarterback Trevor Jackson out of Florida has decommitted from Ole Miss. The 6'3", 190-pounder had been committed since August. He made the announcement via Hayes Fawcett of On3. Jackson is the number 264 overall player in the country, according to On3. The number 35 player in Florida, the number 16 overall quarterback.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
JUCO linebacker Brandon Jennings has committed to Mississippi State. Bulldogs are set to be, get this, his fourth buzzed the tower there. Said to be his 4th Division I team. He was at Maryland, Kansas State, Central Florida, JUCO, and now going to Mississippi State. He was a 4-star, number 16 linebacker in the country coming out of high school, the number 122 overall player. He's had a very circuitous path there to Starkville. He's the number 117 JUCO prospect, the number 15 linebacker per on 3. Okay, there you have it. That is Around the SEC presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. Online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales service after the sale. Love telling you about Gulf Coast Office Products. Ethical people that do awesome work that'll help your business be more efficient. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Okay, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. When I got a break, come back, wrap up hour number 1. Updated bowl projections, updated Heisman odds, all that good stuff coming out of the weekend that we'll get to. Much more, we'll let you hear from Brian Kelly as he met with the media earlier today, previewing the LSU-Alabama game. Of course, it's LSU-Bama week, so we got a ton of that. Kind of pace ourselves a bit, but a ton of LSU-Alabama all week as we head toward the game in Tuscaloosa Saturday night. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back and wrap up hour number 1 next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Glow Resources, Complete Employee Solutions. That's Glow Resources and glowresources.com. Remember, GLO, glowresources.com. You know, one of the things that really sets Glow Resources apart is that every order is specific. This isn't cookie cutter employee solutions. This isn't a temp staffing agency. Glow Resources works for the business owner, not for the employee. They work to find you the best employee solution. They specialize in skilled blue-collar, heavy equipment operators, crane operators, welders, but also on the admin side as well. They have a professional placement division where they source people from all over the world. So if you need managers, Glow Resources can help you there as well. They represent the client, and they take care of everything from workers' comp and child support to deductions, health insurance, dental insurance, general liability. If you need to simplify hiring and get people that work for your business, you need Glow Resources. glowresources.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is celebrating Ram Power Days with $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 1500 trucks, $15,000 off, and a 1 million mile warranty. Plus, we'll pay your trade-off regardless of what you owe. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. with driver and passenger massage seats. Mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
There is There it is. There's news out of college football. Michigan, is sort of embroiled in this this cheating scandal where apparently they were videoing sidelines. You know the story by now. And interestingly enough, the Wall Street Journal reported that Michigan has rescinded a new contract offer for Jim Harbaugh. Now, Harbaugh has come out today and publicly said that and denied that contract extension was rescinded. I want to remind you this. We had Adam Rittenberg of ESPN on AFR last week, and even before the Wall Street Journal reported this, Adam Rittenberg told us this last week.
I talked with Ward Manuel, their AD, a couple of weeks ago, and they're working on a contract extension. So, I would assume that's been put on pause, at least for the immediate. But that was the intent not long ago at Michigan, was to do whatever it takes to keep Jim Harbaugh as their coach.
Rittenberg told us last week, I assume that extension's been put on hold. But by the way, Rittenberg also said made this prediction about Harbaugh's future.
I still think the likeliest outcome, guys, is the one that Jim Harbaugh has been trying to facilitate for the last couple of years, and that's Jim Harbaugh going back to the NFL. If Jim Harbaugh can find an NFL suitor, whether it's right here where I am in Chicago or somewhere else, he is going to go back to the NFL. If not, I believe he will be at Michigan in spite of another controversy.
Okay. So follow it here. Last week, Rittenberg's here says they've been working on an extension for Harbaugh, and that would be paused now. They report that it's paused. Harbaugh denies all that. Heather Dinich was on ESPN and was asked point blank, could Jim Harbaugh be fired over all this?
It might not be Jim Harbaugh's choice whether he stays or leaves Michigan. There are so many things going on. I mean, at some point, is he responsible for the public relations nightmares that continually land in the president and athletic director's lap?
I would love to see Jim Harbaugh in New Orleans, just for what it's worth. If the Saints fire Dennis Allen, Harbaugh's available. I get it. He's gristly. Not everyone loves him. I don't care. I don't need you to love my coach. I just need my coach to win. Sabin has not been a lovable guy most of his career. Bill Belichick's not a lovable guy most of his career. Not everybody's Tony Dungy, someone who people universally respect and love, who also wins. Just give me a guy that wins. So Harbaugh has done that from the University of San Diego to Stanford to the San Francisco 49ers to Michigan. He wins everywhere. So, yes, I would love it if he is fired at Michigan, that he ends up in New Orleans if it comes to that. But we'll see if it comes to that. We'll follow it. It's certainly significant. All right. Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Remember, as we get closer to the holidays, if you're buying maybe for that first-time driver in your family, check out the Jetta. It's the fun-size sedan that comes with all the great safety features. It's fun to drive. Your son or daughter will love to drive it, and you'll love that the payment. You'll love the price tag. I'll put it to you that way. Maybe you need the Atlas, the 3-row 7-seater family SUV. That's what Erica drives. I drive the Atlas Cross Sport. Takes out the third row, little sleeker design, comes with all the luxury features. You can test drive one today at South Point Volkswagen. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Last night I was on Twitter, and I saw that our friend Bud Elliott from On3, who Bud Elliott created the blue chip ratio. And forgive me, Bud Elliott's with 247. Forgive me. He does a podcast called Cover 3. Let me not mess up the affiliation. My apologies. But anyway, Bud posted a graphic, and it was a projected 12-team playoff field after Week 9. And so it's projected. So, like, a lot of people were miffed that he has Washington 11th and Oregon 4th. Well, don't get lost in the details. He's basically projecting Oregon to win the Pac-12. Basically that Oregon and Washington would rematch and Oregon would win, but Washington would still get in. So don't get lost in that. The point is, I quote tweeted this and said, how can anybody, any college football fan, look at this and not think this is a great thing for college football? And for what it's worth, he's got LSU as the 10 seed playing at Louisville for a right to play Michigan in Ann Arbor in the second round. Oh my, no, forgive me, that would be at the Fiesta Bowl in Tempe. So LSU at Louisville for the right to play Michigan in the Fiesta Bowl. Like, please inject that into my veins. And you know what I got, which was a lot of the reaction you always get from people when you talk about an expand. Well, it's going to ruin the sacred regular season. You know what I've heard it's going to ruin the sacred regular season conversations? When the BCS came around. Oh, they're going to ruin the sacred regular season where every weekend matters. College football got more popular. And then they're going to the 4-team playoff. And you know what I heard? Oh, it's going to ruin the sacred regular season where every game matters. And you know what's happened? More people are watching college football than ever before. And they're going to go to 12 teams next year, and it's going to be phenomenal. And you know what you're hearing now is, oh, they're going to ruin the sacred regular season where every week is a playoff. Bull crap. You have been force-fed that nonsense your entire life, and you accept it, you digest it, you believe it, because you, like I, love college football. But this is a phenomenal thing for college football. It is going to keep more teams engaged longer. By definition, if your belief is the sacred regular season and every week is a playoff game, then LSU's season ended before September. Teams are allowed to improve. And how about a novel idea of actually deciding a champion by playing games on the field? College football is getting closer, and it's only getting more popular because of it. Peter Burns, SEC Network, next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Get to ShawBillsTire.com. Hey, remember, Shawbills is hiring. So I get it, man. The workforce and the whole work culture everywhere has really been turned on its head ever since COVID. If you're looking for a career instead of a job, go to ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Hit the careers tab. Shawbills right now in the greater Baton Rouge area is hiring a service advisor. So, and you can apply at any location in the Baton Rouge area. But go to the website, ShawBillsTire.com, hit the careers tab. You'll see all the different jobs that they have open at 17 different locations across South Louisiana. Whether you've got a ton of experience in the auto service industry or zero, they'll train you and get you up to speed. What they want are motivated people who are looking for a career instead of a job. That's Shawbills, where you know they treat their customers like family and they treat their employees like family as well. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, we keep you rolling.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A disgraced teacher and former EBR school employee is a wanted man tonight, accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a student. Turns out that employee was so infatuated with the child, he transferred to the same school as the victim. Arrest documents show when that heat was turned up on Justin Broussard, he instructed the teen to lie to school leaders so he wouldn't get in trouble. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Sabin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Sabin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Ahead of tomorrow's NFL trade deadline, the Giants traded defensive lineman Leonard Williams to the Seahawks for 2 draft picks, Seattle adding a difference maker up front. A devastating injury for the Vikings and their starting quarterback. An MRI confirmed Kirk Cousins has a season-ending Achilles tear. That injury impacts both the short and long-term future of the organization. Unsportsmanlike co-host Chris Canty.
The production and what he was able to do in terms of moving that offense up and down the field will be sorely missed. And that's a team that has to win because of their offense. Their defense is the complement to it. So this is going to be a struggle for Minnesota. I'm not quite sure where they go from here when it comes to stabilizing the most important position in all of team sports.
Coach Kevin O'Connell said today they do plan to add a QB in the next day or so. Lions receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown plans to play against the Raiders on Monday Night Football, 8 Eastern, ESPN and ABC. He had been questionable with an illness. NBA, ESPN's Mark J. Spears is reporting Kings guard De'Aaron Fox has avoided a serious right ankle injury. The hope is that he can return within a week's time.
Brought to you by the Capital One Venture X card. Earn unlimited 2x miles on everything you buy. Plus, get access to over 1,300 airport lounges and a $300 annual credit for bookings through Capital One Travel. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR. Presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Larry Holder, bottom of this hour. Brian Kelly, Nick Sabin previewing the matchup in Tuscaloosa. We'll get to much more of what the two head coaches had to say throughout the show today. Every single Monday here during football season, we talk the weekend that was in the SEC with our buddy Peter Burns of the SEC Network.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 11 of the defense, throwing the LSU player's shoe 20 yards down the field.
20 yards down the field. An important notation. PB, how are you, man?
What if the shoe would have only gone 18 yards? That would have been kind of like an awkward, 18 yards, 19. 20 was just such a definitive yardage amount.
You know what? I would actually like to see the all-22 to see if the shoe did actually travel 20 yards. It almost feels like spotting the football, like spotting a punt that goes out of bounds where you're not exactly sure where it went out. So the guy's running up the sideline with his hand in the air trying to see where it crossed. You're just sort of guessing a little. It feels like he was guessing a little bit.
Don't tempt me with another opportunity to watch that game. Trust me, because I'm waiting until kickoff now in Tuscaloosa. So this is easily the longest week of the year. Is the week leading into LSU Alabama every year.
Before we talk about the game, I have a question that I've been meaning to ask you for about a month now since you've been coming on with us, and I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened to the koala picture on Twitter?
And the lack of koala pictures?
Yes.
I'll be honest with you. I've dialed that back because I felt like after I learned that koalas have an 85% chlamydia rate, I was like, am I overproducing the chlamydia? Am I making them too accessible to the public? Am I a part of this chlamydia problem for the koalas? And so I've dialed it back a little bit.
Is that really a thing?
I mean, I would Google it, but maybe not on a work computer. Is that fair?
Okay. I still don't like it.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, anytime there would be sort of a shocking moment in sports, PB would tweet a picture of a koala mouth agape with eucalyptus leaves in its mouth, and I loved it. And as a matter of fact, PB, on my tweet just now tweeting the link of you coming on, I have the koala picture, and heretofore, every time you're on this show, when I tweet that link, I'm tweeting the koala picture.
I hope you do. Now, the real reason why I don't do it much anymore is because since all of the changes on Twitter /X, they completely removed how TweetDeck works. And so it used to be kind of fun to have Twitter rolling nonstop as plays were happening because it was real time being in a social media sports bar. But now that they've throttled it down and slowed it down to where you get a tweet every 20 seconds or something like that, it's kind of lost its, it's kind of lost its third person, hey, we're all hanging out together watching this thing. It's more of an echo chamber of, this is what I think is happening, everybody, as opposed to a conversation like it used to be back, probably a year ago.
That's fair. And it also, the other part of it too, is when is that it's not, Twitter isn't real time anymore, so they'll populate tweets that you might be interested in from yesterday. Here's what you missed 18 hours ago, sort of thing. So it's not a real time. It's not. What am I trying to say? Tweets don't post consecutively, right?
In chronologically.
Thank you. That's what I was. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. So, all right. Well, anyway, I'm bringing back the koala, just so you know. All right. Georgia really good. Florida really bad. Any in between there?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of both, but I mean, Georgia is basically I've told you this before, the cool kid that finally shows up when the party is good. It's almost all right, well, hey, is the party good? People are there, good-looking girls, a lot of beer, crawfish. I'm in. Okay, yeah. Then they show up, and then they get all dressed up, and they look spiffy. But, if it's a Tuesday night hangout against, I don't know, whoever, they're kind of yeah, I mean, I'll show up in a hoodie and a sweatshirt. I mean, I'll still be there. But, I mean, that was dominant. And I joked around on the show this morning, Moscona, because I said, I'm the worst thing that Florida could have done is score first because you almost bloodied their nose. I mean, it almost would have been better if Georgia comes in, has this ho-hum, we just walk down the field, score on an 80-yard drive, and then be all right, that's how this thing's going to go, whatever, we're good. And almost lull them to sleep. When you took that ball and he went and scored, Kirby's all right, you pissed off. I mean, you pissed off Freddy Krueger. Here we go. You shouldn't have done that. So they're legit.
Yeah, we've seen Georgia actually lock in twice, and they beat the crap out of Kentucky and Florida. What do you think about? I'm trying to think of a way to ask this. Maybe the best, because Tennessee beats Kentucky, and I'm kind of curious if you think Kentucky is the most disappointing team in the league this year, based on what the expectation might have been for them in a quote unquote down SEC East?
I mean, it's A&M. It's almost like the Texas A&M Disappointment of the Year award that might go to Kentucky this year, right? Like, I mean, like, because I still think A&M is a horrifically bad disappointment so far this year. But yeah, I mean, I think Kentucky. I thought Devin Leary, and we saw him play better. It's just so weird to see a team go in and bully Kentucky that way, right? Because I feel like Kentucky and Tennessee are kind of the same type tier of a team. And the way that Tennessee beat them down, it wasn't hitting Hooker and throwing for 400 where they're like, bro, they're just good. This was like, all right, you and I, 30-style bare-knuckle brawl in the backyard, and I'm going to whoop you in front of your family. And that was jaw-dropping, frankly.
We're a little bit ahead of ourselves. Do you think Tennessee legit has a shot against Georgia?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I thought that might be the third most interesting game still left on Georgia's schedule is Tennessee-Georgia, because Tennessee now is playing like Georgia does, right? Like last year, I think it was a better fit, even though they didn't play real well, because they were explosive in certain ways. Like Tennessee's trying to win games without the way that Georgia does, but Georgia's been stacking that personnel for 7 straight years. So, I mean, I think it's the Missouri game is the most dangerous. Now, let me flip that. Ole Miss game is the most dangerous, then Missouri, and then Tennessee for Georgia.
Peter
and then, honestly, I think maybe the most dangerous is LSU and Atlanta this year.
Okay. Well, Peter Burns is with us, courtesy of our friends at Blue Delta Jeans, BlueDeltaJeans.com, BlueDeltaJeans.com. So, look, you told us last week that you were picking LSU to win this game against Alabama. You sticking with that?
Man, I tell you what, I was like 99% like putting the kids' college fund on that, especially I think it started at like 6, and now I think it's all the way down to 3, which is I think the lowest spread for an LSU Bama game, I want to say since 2008, Sabin's return. I think that might be the case. I think that might be the one. I mean, not counting the national championship game, right? National championship game, I think LSU was like a 1.5 underdog, and we don't talk about that game any longer. Like that game does not exist.
Right.
But even like 2019 with Burrow and the boys, like that was
5.
I mean, LSU was like a 5.5 point dog going in. So I felt really good about it, and I knew the Wingo thing was going to be an issue. And now, I mean, I think that's a monster blow. Like I'm at like 53.5% sure now, because that just makes them being able to run the hell out of the ball even better, and that keeps the ball out of Jaden's hands even more. Like that's just a monster injury.
What if I told you I don't think that's nearly as big a deal as Zy Alexander being out?
I mean, that's fair. It doesn't make me feel any better about Zy or the fact that Denver Harris or Deuce never actually materialized as capable quarterbacks. Like it doesn't make me feel better. It's like, hey, like you have sepsis on the left side of your body, but you just have MS on the other side. Like it's not good either way, right? Like both of them stink. Like God forbid, like it's not good.
It's not good. Peter, I don't think it matters, man, because Alabama's going to move the ball and score points whether Mekhi Wingo's there or not. The key is can LSU...
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. It matters, Matt. I mean, because it's all it needs to be, and I'm not saying it's a shutdown, right? I'm not saying, hey, all right, you're going to score, you're going to hold them to 20 points. Like, well, I'm not naive to believe that, but I need a damn speed bump. That's all I'm asking for. I need 1 or 2 plays that Mekhi Wingo all of a sudden says, you know what, that's not 7, that's 3. We forced them into that. And that's the worry that I have, is what Wingo brought to this was a small speed bump that allows Daniels to cook and this offense to get out on the field. So that's my concern. I mean, I'm happy for you to talk me out of it. I'd love to hear that.
Because I think Wingo's been playing injured all year, and he hasn't been what he was a season ago. And if we're being very, very honest, Jordan Jefferson has played better than he and Mason Smith all season. I'm not saying it's good.
Exactly.
I'm not saying
I
it's
agree with
good.
that.
I'm not saying it's good not having him. I'm just telling you, I don't think that's the key to getting the 1 or 2 stops you need. I think it's going to be when you sack Milroe, does he fumble and give you a short field? When Milroe puts one up deep, can you come away with a tip ball interception? I think it's something like that.
I mean, again, if you're talking about how Bama has played better and there's a fighting chance, and at some point, at some periods of this season, I'm like, I don't know. I would take it right now.
Okay.
Like, if you told me after the FSU game, even this year, hey, this is where you're at, an opportunity in how it's playing out right now. We're having this conversation. I'd probably say, yeah, I'd take that, even with the injuries, because I think this offense is that historic.
Peter Burns, SEC Network, on Twitter at Peter Burns ESPN, with us courtesy of Blue Delta Jeans, BlueDeltaJeans.com. Okay, before you go, the biggest one on the board this week outside of LSU, Alabama, it's got to be Texas A&M at Ole Miss. Does Ole Miss,
Georgia? You don't like Mizzou, Georgia in that game?
I'm just not a believer in Mizzou, and that game's in Athens. You just asked me. I'll ask you to convince me that I'm wrong. I think Georgia's a 16-point home favorite, and I think they just totally roll in that game. I'm just way more interested to see, can Texas A&M's defense limit the Ole Miss offense the way that Bama did, or does Ole Miss continue to roll?
I think they're good. I mean, I think the thing why I like Ole Miss in that game is the defense is playing a whole lot better. DJ Durkin's doing a good job with that defense. I mean, Pete Golding's doing a good job with the defense, kind of like DJ Durkin did a couple years ago. But Matt, like every time I watch A&M on offense right now, it feels like I'm watching or listening to a podcast on like 0.75 speed. Like it looks right. I'm like, am I catching this at full speed? Like, is this? It feels like I'm watching something like a Zapruder film. Like, I can't place it because the players are there, but like, I don't know if it's Max Johnson and his delivery, but man, it's just a little bit slower. I mean, I can't figure it out. I think that's the difference why they can't get it done against really talented, fast moving teams.
It's like watching the Big Ten.
I mean, it's a better version of Iowa. Yes.
Yeah. All right, Peter Burns, SEC Network. Before you go, all right, give me your final pick then, man. Give me your final. What happens Saturday in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, 41-38. Good guys.
All right. By the way, I think that's
you know what?
That's a beautiful score. By the way, I love that score. I think that's the game we're going to see. I do think that's the game we're going to see. Upper 30s, lower 40s.
38, and I guarantee you at least 3 shocked koalas will come from the account one way or another. So save the koalas. It's back, baby.
I'm ready. Peter Burns with us every Monday. Thank you.
See you, Rod.
Later. Blue Delta Jeans, BlueDeltaJeans.com. Get there and get you some jeans. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. Minnesota needs a quarterback. Should the Saints trade them Jameis Winston? I have a thought. We'll do that next. Stay far.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. That's ONE, 1hourbr.com. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. Yesterday, of course it was a Sunday, I was exiting I-10 and sitting there at the red light off the exit, pulled up in the left lane next to me, a giant yellow van. I had to look to my side, and of course, I saw the giant clock and the River City's 1 Hour Air logo. Yes, they're working on Sundays because at River City's 1 Hour Air, they work nights, holidays, weekends. Have you looked at the forecast for Halloween and for the rest of this week? Y'all, we are going to have lows in the 30s. Been telling y'all, man, it's coming. You know it's coming. We go from, there's a high this week in the 80s and a low in the 30s. Make sure your heater's ready to roll. Preseason heater safety check. Save $30 when you mention the show. It's River City's 1 Hour Air.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Adam Schefter and others have confirmed the news. I'll just read this tweet from Schefter from a little after noon today on Monday. Today's MRI confirmed the Vikings Pro Bowl quarterback Kirk Cousins tore his right Achilles, and his 2023 season is over. So, you know, the injuries suck. It's part of the NFL. There's no way around it. Sometimes injuries work to your detriment, like it certainly will be for the Vikings here. Sometimes injuries work to your benefit, like it will for the New Orleans Saints each of the next 2 weeks. The Saints will host the Chicago Bears, and they will not have Justin Fields. They'll face a kid who was playing a Division II Shepherd last fall. And then in 2 weeks, the Saints will go up to Minnesota, and they'll play the Minnesota Vikings without Kirk Cousins. And it's still to be determined who will play quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings when the Saints go up there in a couple of weeks. But we know it won't be Cousins, who you could have made a very strong argument. The best quarterbacks the Saints were going to play this year, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff. Is that fair? And now you're not going to face Cousins. So for the New Orleans Saints, where this falls, again, look, man, I feel for Kirk Cousins. Nobody ever wants to see guys get injured. It's their livelihood, their competitors. you work all year, your whole life for these opportunities, and when you're done playing, it's over forever. So there's the human part of me that empathizes there. As a Saints fan, you can't help but look at the competitive nature of what this means, and it means the Saints are probably a road favorite in Minnesota. No Kirk Cousins, no Justin Jefferson, who's on IR. So, yeah, I mean, if you're a Saint fan, the New Orleans Saints catch a huge break here. So, the big question is, what does Minnesota do now without Kirk Cousins? Like, who are the Saints going to face in a couple of weeks? Kevin O'Connell, immediately after the game on Sunday, before the Achilles was confirmed, but everyone knew that was already the injury, had this to say on the plan without Kirk Cousins.
In my mind, I think we've got to take a look at potentially all the options, including building the best possible group around Jaron, knowing that, we're going to continue to build a complete offense, based upon a lot more than just the quarterback. But I will say, previously on Monday night and today on third down, Kirk was absolutely fantastic, and just hurts to know that he's not more than likely going to be able to continue progressing forward on what has really felt like maybe his best season as a pro.
If you look at who's available, and by the way, you mentioned Jaron. I mean, you're talking about a rookie out of BYU, Jaron Hall. Veteran backup Nick Mullins is on IR because of a back injury. He's eligible to be activated as soon as week 10. So, theoretically, the Saints could see Mullins in week 10 when the Saints go to Minnesota. And the Vikings also had veteran Sean Mannion on their practice squad since the Mullins injury. Not a lot of great options there. When you look at free agent quarterbacks that are available, there are 53 free agent quarterbacks that would be available if Minnesota wanted to go this route. Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, who's in the broadcast booth, Tom Brady, who's certainly retired. They could go get Colt McCoy, Joe Flacco, who won a Super Bowl, was Super Bowl MVP, Nick Foles won a Super Bowl MVP, Chase Daniel, who's doing the media thing right now. God bless Trevor Siemian. Jeff Driscoll, Brett Rippon, Will Grier. You get the point here. It's not like there's a lot of options there. Okay. So your only other option, if you're Minnesota, is to go trade for a quarterback. And the name that's being bandied about the most is Jameis Winston. I don't know that I necessarily believe Minnesota is going to go sign a free agent quarterback. I think perhaps the most obvious reason is, how in the world can you realistically bring a quarterback into a new system mid-season and expect them to sprint? It's just not realistic. I mean, think about it. Quarterbacks spend, just look at New Orleans with Carr. You bring in Derek Carr, you got OTAs and mini camp and training camp and the preseason, all this time, and they're still lacking fluidity on offense here in week 8. Now, they look really good this past week. Best they've looked so far. But could you really bring in someone who doesn't know your terminology, your system, your personnel, and have them be the captain of the ship starting in week 9? That feels unrealistic. Which is why there's obviously tremendous value in having a really good backup quarterback. It's why the Saints were willing to invest in Jameis Winston, what they were willing to invest, because you've got a quarterback that's started more than 50 games in his NFL career and is a really good option if something should happen to Derek Carr. So that's part of this, is if you're the Saints and you're thinking, should we trade Jameis? And by the way, there's been no formal reports or anything of the like. We haven't seen anything from Saints, from the Vikings, or anyone reputable who's an NFL reporter suggesting this. I'm just throwing out the most obvious name of a guy who has more than 50 starts in his NFL career and is has a 5,000-yard passing season and has been really good at times. If you're just looking at financially what this would do, for me, let me give you this opinion first and foremost. Should the Saints trade Jameis Winston to Minnesota? Yes. Absolutely, no doubt. If the Minnesota Vikings call the New Orleans Saints and say, we'd like to do a deal for Jameis Winston, 100 bajillion%, you do it. There is not even a second thought in my mind. You have Jameis Winston on a one-year deal. He is an unrestricted free agent after this year. And so after this year's over, Jameis walks, and you would get nothing for him, provided he has an opportunity to go somewhere else and be a starting quarterback, which I assume he will, and or just won't be a backup in New Orleans. So, yes, if you could trade Jameis Winston right now and get something for Jameis Winston, you do it, and you don't even think twice about it. You're paying him $4 million for this season. I know that leaves the Saints vulnerable. Jake Haener is going to be eligible to come back after his suspension and could step into that role as your backup. I'm not telling you that's an ideal situation if Derek Carr were to get injured, but what really are you looking at if you're the Saints in total? If something were to happen to Derek Carr, are you a championship contender with Jameis Winston? My answer is no. I don't even think you're a championship contender with Derek Carr. I've told you this. I think you've got a $150 million albatross hanging around your neck. So if you have the opportunity, understanding that you are in most likely going to be after this season in some form of rebuild mode, and you have an opportunity to get a draft asset for a player that's holding a clipboard for you right now, you do it. Yes, you're taking a calculated risk, but the real question is, if something happened to Carr and Jameis had to go in, are you competing for a championship? My answer is no. Maybe the Saints organization feels differently, but if you could get something for Jameis, you 100% go get something for Jameis, even if it's a mid-round pick. Maybe Minnesota floats you a 4 or a 5. I would take it. I would 100% take that mid-round draft pick and take an asset that can help me in the future, because the only way the Saints are getting back on track as an organization is by starting to hit in the draft and having young starting caliber players on rookie deals. It's the only way this works. It's the only way you can get back to where you were in 17. And the reason it worked in 17 is because you hit on Kamara and Ramczyk and Lattimore and all those guys and Marcus Williams. You hit on that draft class. And so you had all these super talented players that were not only starters, but good starters on rookie deals. And the window now is closed because you ended up having to pay all those guys and make decisions as who you were going to pay and who was going to walk in free agency. But ultimately, if you give me the option of getting another asset for this year's draft, I want it. Give me draft picks, because that's my only way out of the mess I'm in if I'm the New Orleans Saints. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. Another thing to keep in mind also is the Saints play the Vikings in 2 weeks. So do you really want to send your backup, who knows your team, your offense, your personnel, your signs, your everything, send them to Minnesota, who you got to play in Minnesota in 2 weeks? That's probably not a great option for that game in particular. But again, it comes back to what is your viewpoint organizationally? Do you really think you're competing this year to win a championship? I do not. I'm sure the Saints think they do, or they are. If you're not, what assets can you get at the trade deadline? And for a team like the Vikings, who, again, had a rough start to the season and have been hot of late and gotten themselves back to 500, sound familiar? It would probably make sense if you feel like you can compete to win a bad division. And the NFC North, like the NFC South, is a bad division. Now, the Lions are great, and I don't think that the Vikings are going to catch the Lions, but if you're Minnesota, could you find yourself in a spot where you could be competing for a wild card spot? And that very much feels like it could be feasible for Minnesota. Is Jameis the guy? If Minnesota picks up the phone and makes that call, you 100% make that deal if you're the New Orleans Saints. Now, I don't think that's going to happen for all the reasons that I said. But if the option is there and you're the Saints, you do that deal. All right, it's after further review. You can email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. We're brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Hey, Thursday is Christmas in November. The one-day only biggest sale of the year at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. Again, I love this event. It's a great event. There's live music. There's free food. There's cocktails, champagne, wine, beer, and you can meet the whole staff. It's Christmas in November, one day only, the best prices of the year, and you don't have to use all these deals, but you buy these for everything. Every product, every service, discounted, best price of the year. You can put them in your portfolio so that way you can use them whenever you want throughout the year. Christmas in November, it's this Thursday at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge or online at theantiagingclinics.com. Okay, I am late. Larry Holder is going to join us next. We'll get to Uncle Larry. We'll get Tigers and the Pros later this hour, and we'll reset a lot of what Brian Kelly and Nick Sabin had to say today, kicking off LSU Bama week. That's in 26 minutes to start hour 3. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Hey, tomorrow is Halloween. We always have people over to the house for Halloween, even though the kids are kind of getting a little bit older. Drew still trick-or-treats, and some of the cousins still trick-or-treat. We always host. So we always love to go to Rouse's, and we like to put out, snacks and finger foods and all that sort of stuff for the family that are coming by. We always get some beer, so we run to Rouse's and make the little beer run for the adults, and Cokes and juice boxes and all that stuff for the kids. So they have everything you need. Rouse has been helping you make groceries for 60 years. And, of course, if you want dinner for the whole family, you can pick that up at Rouse's as well. Individually, everybody can get what they want. Or if you have a big gathering coming over and you want party platters and trays, they got you at Rouse's. Maybe you're thinking ahead to the game watch for Saturday or Sunday. Rouse's can help you there as well. Just call ahead and they'll get all those party platters and trays done for you with whatever you want on them. It's Rouse's. Should you download the Rouse's app? Curbside delivery and pickup options are available. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Rouse's. This feels like home.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is celebrating Ram Power Days with $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 1500 trucks, $15,000 off, and a 1 million mile warranty. Plus, we'll pay your trade-off regardless of what you owe. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
It was a humid day. Barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
The bubbly sounds of Ace of Base can mean only one thing. It's time to talk to that no-good, low-down son of a bugger who keeps avoiding paying me the whiskey he owes me. That would be Larry Holder of The Athletic. How are you, Larry?
Look, you can't cash in your winning ticket when you've only won the first 12 games of your 15-game parlay. I'm just saying that. You cannot cash it in.
Larry,
I've tried.
Larry, it's over.
I've tried.
I've
tried.
Larry, it's over.
What has happened to Tampa? They are now below 500. And, I mean, one team in the division that's 500 has already made a quarterback switch. Why can't they see what they have with Kyle Trask by the end of the season? Why not?
I mean, I know you want that to happen because even that wouldn't win you the bet.
Why not?
Because that would make him just sort of like a trial and error. Could it be? The thing is, would he be a starting quarterback in the NFL? Not would he start a game. This is already determined, Larry. We're halfway through the season. He's not the starting quarterback. He's not going to be the starting quarterback. Like, you lost. You lost the bet. That's okay. I'll keep waiting. I'll keep waiting to the very end of the year, but you lost the bet.
If he is ever listed atop the depth chart of Tampa, I win.
No, you don't.
Yes.
We were very Muso, Pauly,
we were
get
very
in here.
vague.
Muso, Pauly, get in
very
here.
Vague. Very vague.
Muso?
Yes. No. I can't side with Larry on this. I can't. I
Pauly?
want to, but I can't.
Yeah, I'm with Matt on that one.
Yeah. It was very clear, Larry. I even said you can't start a game. Anybody can start a game in the NFL. That's not the point. So you lose. Do you think, by the way, who do you think wins the NFC South at this, as we're nearing the halfway point?
Oh, I think the Saints. Like, I haven't lost faith that the Saints could come back and win the division, even though it was sluggish, because you just don't trust any team really in the division, which, all joking aside, like, Kyle Trask might end up starting some games this year. I mean, that might actually happen if Tampa kind of goes south, because Baker's on a one-year deal. What do you have to lose if you play him and then you draft a quarterback? Like, that could easily happen. We're already seeing Atlanta switching gears. Now, Atlanta might get better with Taylor Heineke. I mean, I think that's probably actually going to happen. But, I mean, how much better? You know, a game or two better maybe than maybe what you thought? I don't know. But, no, I think the Saints, with the way – I feel like that I'm starting to think that offense can finally get going. Like, we've seen it now, I'd say, for 4.5 quarters. Let's count, like, half of the quarter against Jacksonville. And, I do think now, and look, Colts have given up a ton of points in the last 3 games. I mean, they've averaged given up 38 points a game. I mean, so, the Saints were basically on par with how bad the Colts have been. But, I mean, it just looked more in sync, even with some bumbles and stumbles. I mean, the ball hits Chris Olave in the face. I mean, geez. I mean, so I feel like the Saints, I feel like they're definitely the favorite in my eyes. I mean, so I think they're, especially the next 2 games you got going. You're going to be facing a backup this week. Matt Eberflus already said that Tyler Badgett is going to start because Justin Fields is still week to week with the hand, and now you're down to Jaron Hall with the Vikings, and then the Saints have a bye week. So it really looks like they should be 6-4 going into the bye.
Isn't that though the scary part? Whenever that's the thing, Larry, that differentiates teams that are good and the sort of homogenous blob of 7, 8, 9 win teams in the middle of the league is, are you able to win the games you're supposed to? And the Saints should win the next 2 weeks against backup quarterbacks with Chicago and Minnesota. But do the Saints pee down their leg like they did against Green Bay and the Texans?
I mean, that's absolutely the fear. I mean, and they've provided you reasons for that fear. I mean, so yeah, that's the thing. And so, look, I just feel like I'm starting to see it. Like, I wouldn't have said that even 2 weeks ago after the New England game. It's like, oh, let me see it. I feel like I'm seeing it. I don't know why that game felt a little different for me. And it's something that people are going to be asking for, say, like, run the ball with Taysom Hill a million times, this, that, and the other. Like, if it works, great, but I think the Saints are going to have to figure out how to play without that if someone takes that away. I feel like they can. And defensively, you don't want to see them giving up 27 points and giving up big runs on the ground. They did that twice to both each back against the Colts. But still, I just feel like that the Saints, they're just on the verge. I'm not saying that they're going to go run the table. I just feel like they're on the verge of putting together a couple more wins, and then you hit the bye, and then I feel like they got a couple more tougher games, and then you got really some divisional games that's going to be pretty critical down the line.
Larry Holder's with a senior NFL writer for The Athletic. He's on Twitter at Larry Holder. Give him a follow. I'll ask you through Saints lens and then NFL lens. First, Saints first. Buyers or sellers at the deadline? Do you think any moves get made?
I just don't see what they like. I could say, all right, beef up. You'd like to say maybe beef up the offensive line, but what's out there? Like, I think they would like to buy, but I don't think there's anything out there that they're going to want to buy, and they're definitely not selling. Like they want to be in this. So I think they're going to be pretty quiet. I had to kind of play Saints GM for a second in our potential trade. If the Saints were going to make a trade or trade one player, who would it be? And I was looking down the team, and I'm like, I don't see anybody that they're absolutely saying, oh man, we can trade this guy. Like, I had to say Zach Bond out of desperation. I mean, he's in the last year of his deal. He's in the last year of his deal, and he's a Sam linebacker. You never use those. So I was like, maybe him, but if they were going to make a trade, if they were going to trade Jameis Winston, they would have done it weeks ago. No one's, extra offensive linemen. They need all the depth they can get because it hasn't exactly been cohesive. So I think they'd like to buy, but I don't think that they probably feel it's necessary to buy. They probably, at this point today, they probably are starting to feel a little better about their roster than maybe they were, a couple weeks ago.
All right, last thing, big picture NFL. What are some of the biggest names in the NFL or teams we expect to be buyers or sellers here at the deadline?
Well, trade had already happened in Seattle. Leonard Williams, he was a big name. The Giants traded him. I was looking maybe. You got to look at kind of guys who'd be in the final years of their contracts. Oh man, I would like to see maybe the Bengals be a buyer. I don't know if a particular player, but I think I'd like to see them be a buyer. They're starting to get hot again. The Eagles are making moves, but they're doing it with Atlanta to get rid of some players that they don't actually need. And Atlanta just lost Grady Jarrett, so they went and made a move today. But I would have looked for Ryan Tannehill or maybe Kirk Cousins to get traded. Tannehill might be a name that actually moves. Derrick Henry might be a name that gets moved. I doubt. I don't know if it's going to happen, but you got to look at guys who will have expiring contracts that could get moved, like Derrick Henry or Ryan Tannehill. The Jets, someone desperate might want Tannehill to come in and be that guy at the last second. Now that they feel like they're kind of in it with some crazy, weird wins.
Hey, before you go, I had Muso pull this. This is going to be the new drop every time we talk to you. Hit it.
I could say, all right, that's pretty good.
What
you had me bumbling and stumbling. I don't know. You threw me for a loop. I didn't have the answer to that question. I didn't exactly have a player or a team. Sometimes you give me homework and I do it. I just didn't have that homework, and that's me trying to keep the bet going. Maybe that's my job.
A pregnant pause works as well, but instead we got this.
I could say, all right.
You owe
I
me
couldn't
whiskey.
do that sequence again if I tried.
Play it again, Muse.
I could say.
But actually, you just did it again at the end of that answer. Muse, go pull that one too. We'll get to it. I gotta go because we're short on time. You owe me booze, you creep. Give me my booze.
When the season's over and I lose, you'll get it.
All right. Thank you, Uncle Larry. Have a great day.
All right.
We'll see you. That is Larry Holder of The Athletic on Twitter at Larry Holder. This is After Further Review. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number 2 next.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. They announced last week over at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys They're a new sponsor of Baton Rouge Community College Athletics. So great job that Gordon has done in expanding not only the G team, but so many ways that Gordon has really contributed to all of our community through Gordon Gives. Gordon Gives is the charitable arm of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. And I always encourage you to go to GordonGives.com. That's GordonGives.com. Remember, at GordonGives.com, that's where you can go enter to win one of the autographed footballs from members of the G team that they give away every single week throughout the season. So go to GordonGives.com. That's where you can go to enter, GordonGives.com. And you can see right there on the homepage the autographed LSU football giveaway. That's how you can enter to win one of the autographed footballs by members of the G team. If you've been injured in an accident, you know what to do. Get Gordon. Get it done.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A disgraced teacher and former EBR school employee is a wanted man tonight, accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a student. Turns out that employee was so infatuated with the child, he transferred to the same school as the victim. Arrest documents show when that heat was turned up on Justin Broussard, he instructed the teen to lie to school leaders so he wouldn't get in trouble. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Sabin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Sabin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Wrapping up hour number 2, Muso. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Multiple reports today have reported.
Hey, word.
I just pulled a Larry.
Hashtag words.
Yeah. Anyway, those
English language. Hey.
Those multiple reports are reporting that the Bills are signing Leonard Fournette to their practice squad. Leonard Fournette, of course, as we all remember, the number 4 overall pick in the 2017 draft, won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. It's where he spent the last 3 seasons, 668 yards and 3 touchdowns for Leonard last year. Now joins a Bills team that is currently 14th in the NFL in rushing. Danielle Hunter picked up sack number 10 yesterday. That increases his league lead. The Minnesota Vikings defeated the Green Bay Packers. The sack was part of a 3-tackle day for Danielle Hunter. Grant Delpit yesterday, 6 tackles in the ballgame against the Seattle Seahawks. Jamal Adams on the other side, though. Man, 8 of them for Jamal, including 1 for a loss and a pass defense. Since he come back from that concussion, he has been really, really strong. Patrick Queen led the Baltimore Ravens in stops yesterday with 11, including 1 of those for a loss. And, of course, the Ravens held off a late rally by the Arizona Cardinals to get that victory. And Joey B, how about him? He is 100%. I don't think there's any doubt anymore. The 283 yards passing, 3 touchdowns and no picks is one thing, but how about 43 yards on the ground for Joe Burrow, including a long of 20? That's when you really know that he is back to normal. So a 300-yard offensive day for Joey B combined. Jamar Chase on the receiving end of 10 receptions, 12 targets, and even 100 yards on the day. And a score. The Bengals have won 3 in a row, all against the NFC West. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. That's LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gentlemen, thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You know where to find them with 9 locations in all. Of course, 2 in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Shreveport, Lafayette, and online at LMFJ.com. That's LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas, Muse.
Merry Christmas, Matt.
Merry Christmas, Paulie. How are you? Good?
Thank you, Matt. Merry Christmas
Yeah,
to
Merry
you as
Christmas,
well.
everybody. It must be Christmas. The Pels are 2-0. How about that?
Yeah, love it.
Are
man.
you okay, Muse?
I'm great. The Pels are 2-0.
What was that little...
Zion's playing great.
What was the...
I was trying to get a Christmas song, and it was.
You know, it'd be
delayed.
great if you had Christmas music on the button bar.
We might have to make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll
what
make that
a
happen.
really novel idea.
I have to figure out how to do the rotator. It's different on this system.
Pelly's
I've never quite nailed
2-0.
it.
They're at Golden State tonight, 7 o'clock Central Time tonight. Let's make it 3-0. Merry Christmas, y'all. Take us home, JT.
AFR.
As we put a button on hour number 2, let me remind you about Pure Restoration. Pure-restoration.com. Mold Zero is now Pure Restoration. Same company, patented non-toxic dry fog, same great people. Expanded menu of services that include demolition, build back. Also, if you have mold, water intrusion, storm damage, busted pipe, flood, hail damage, if you need emergency services, Pure Restoration can help. Pure-restoration.com. You know, the emergency services are fantastic because they can get to you same day with 24 to 48 hour turnaround, which is fast and thorough as opposed to traditional remediation methods. Pure Restoration is faster. Also, their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment will save you money. There was a school that had mold. They came in, sprayed their patented non-toxic dry fog, saved that school about $2 million in furniture they thought they were going to have to discard. It's Pure Restoration. Pure-restoration.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Scoocha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Ahead of tomorrow's NFL trade deadline, the Giants traded defensive lineman Leonard Williams to the Seahawks for 2 draft picks. Seattle adding a difference maker up front. ESPN NFL analyst Marcus Spears.
This is really for a playoff push. I think Seattle now is starting to move some chips more and more into the center of the table. And now you look up in the NFC West where their positioning are, and you guys know interior pressure in the NFL is much more relevant and critical today and the way the game is played than it was in the past. And Leonard Williams is one of those guys that can win those one-on-ones on the interior.
An MRI confirmed today Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins has a season-ending torn Achilles. Coach Kevin O'Connell did not name a starter for Sunday's game in Atlanta. He did, though, indicate the team will add a quarterback in the next day or two. Lions receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown plans to play against the Raiders on Monday Night Football, 8 Eastern, ESPN and ABC. He had been questionable with an illness. NBA, ESPN's Mark J. Spears reporting Kings guard De'Aaron Fox has avoided a serious right ankle injury. A source expressed optimism Fox can return within a week's time.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. We got a ton to do, and it's basically all football. It's LSU Alabama week. Saints get a potential season-saving win against Indianapolis. I don't think that's hyperbole. I think if the Saints do turn this thing around, we may look back and say, yep, that was the moment where the Saints turned their season around. A game under 500, you go on the road, you're down double digits, you come back, you get a double-digit win to get yourself back to 500 on a day where the Falcons lose, and now you look ahead and you're going to play backup quarterback at home against Chicago and a backup quarterback on the road against Minnesota. The Saints may be the turning point of the season. So much more about what Dennis Allen and Derek Carr had to say after the win. We'll get to that coming up here in about 15 minutes. It's LSU Bama week. Brian Kelly and Nick Sabin both met with reporters on Monday, and these two teams find themselves in a familiar spot where they were a year ago, where this game, as it has been a familiar spot for these two teams for the better part of a decade now, that this game is the one that everyone points to in November as ultimately the battle for the SEC West. Although I think this game now has a decidedly different feel than it would have a month ago. A month ago, LSU's defense was floundering amid really, the worst stretch any of us had seen, rivaled only by 2020. And the Alabama offense was similarly and uncharacteristically bad. They were rotating quarterbacks throughout the first month of the season, really trying to find their identity. And now as the calendar flips to November, both of these teams, it's pretty clear what they are. LSU has steadied itself defensively. They're not good, but they've steadied themselves from an historically bad pace. Meanwhile, they are the best offense in college football. Alabama has a defense which is starting to look more like an Alabama defense, 6th nationally in total defense, and an offense that has found a way to maximize what it does best. One of the factors in this game that we didn't spend really any time last week talking about as we were scratching the surface on this matchup is the Brian Kelly, Tommy Rees dynamic. Remember, Tommy Rees, the Alabama offensive coordinator, played for Brian Kelly at Notre Dame and left Notre Dame as one of the more decorated quarterbacks in that program's history. He played in 45 games with 30 starts. He threw for over 7,000 yards in his Notre Dame career. He was the starting quarterback in he was injured, but lost his job in 2012, the year where Notre Dame played Alabama in that national championship game, coincidentally, in 2012. And as a coach, Tommy Rees, when his playing days were over, he went to Northwestern in 2015, spent a year with the Chargers in 2016. Then Brian Kelly brought him to South Bend, and he's been there from 2017 on. And remember, when Brian Kelly got the LSU job, he tried to bring Tommy Rees with him to LSU. And Tommy Rees stood up in front of the Notre Dame team and talked about this being home and where he wanted to be. And so he stayed in South Bend under Marcus Freeman. Well, that loyalty lasted one season because when Nick Saban in Alabama came calling, Tommy Rees made that jump. And so he's in his first season as the offensive coordinator there. So Brian Kelly is going to face off against his former player and assistant coach, Tommy Rees, who's the OC at Alabama. And I thought it was interesting because if you're Brian Kelly, knowing that Rees played for you and spent the majority of his coaching career on your staff, most of what Tommy Rees is as an offensive game caller, play caller, organizer, is rooted in what you are. So I think that's a pretty significant advantage to LSU in scouting Alabama this week, because everything Tommy Rees is, Brian Kelly probably knows what he's going to do, what his tendencies are going to be. You could say the shoe's on the other foot as well, that Tommy Rees may have that inclination of Brian Kelly, but it's the old saying that the teacher doesn't teach the student everything. Always keep a few tricks up your sleeves. But I asked Brian Kelly on Monday about his relationship with Tommy Rees, and as you would imagine, he said he had glowing praise.
There's a connection there. You know, he played for me. We've got a deep connection relative to a player-coach relationship, and then a respect for him as a coach and what he's done in this profession at an early age. He's somebody that I have a lot of respect for in what he's done, certainly at Notre Dame, and then in a very short time taking an offense and transforming it quickly during the season.
The second part of that is where I also want to shift to, where Brian Kelly said he's taken an offense and transformed it during the season. And he's right. And it's a pretty impressive job that he's done to this point. Here first was Kelly talking about sort of the hallmark of this Tommy Rees offense at Alabama.
His teams are going to be physical. They're going to run the football. They're going to push the ball down the field. And they're going to, more than anything else, they're going to utilize their personnel as he'll mold the offense to fit the personnel. And I think that's what smart coaches do. And, he's an outstanding football coach.
He'll mold the offense to fit the personnel. That is undeniably what Tommy Rees has done as this season has progressed in South Bend. In Tuscaloosa. If I ask you what is Jalen Milroe, most people immediately are going to say he's a runner. And he is a dynamic runner. We have seen Jalen Milroe as an explosive, dynamic runner, undeniable. A year ago when Bryce Young got hurt and Jalen Milroe went in against Arkansas, he busted off that 77-yard touchdown run, and it was like, oh, okay. Jalen Milroe is a phenomenal athlete. And at the start of this season, he was a runner. They were trying to work Jalen Milroe as a runner into their offense. And their offense wasn't good. Against Middle Tennessee in the opener, he carried it 7 times for 48 yards. You were playing a completely outmanned opponent. And then week 2, they played Texas. And Milroe ran it 15 times for 44 yards. That's 15 offensive snaps dedicated to your quarterback running the football. And he got you 44 yards. Averaged 2.9 a carry. They lost that game. He was benched against South Florida, and he comes back for the SEC opener against Ole Miss. 16 carries for 28 yards. He was sacked 4 times. So obviously the sack yardage is negated out of the rushing total. But his long was 20. And then against Mississippi State, 11 carries for 69 yards. He busted off a long of 53. But the last 3 weeks is what you've seen in the evolution of this Alabama offense. The last 3 weeks is where it's been very clear that what they are doing with Milroe is very different. And Brian Kelly talked about that today.
I think at first there was this sense that he was just going to run all over the place, right? This is going to be a running quarterback. But he's not. I mean, he is a threat to run. There's no doubt about that. And he can go from 0 to 60 as well as anybody. But he's going to stand in the pocket. He's going to throw the football. And the way they create offense is through a balance of running the football, formationing you so you can get some shots down the field. And he throws the ball well. I mean, he throws the ball well. And he can hit the open targets. He can push the ball down the field. And so I think what he's done really well is when he's been given the opportunity to take shots down the field, he's hooked up. He hasn't missed receivers. And I think that's been impressive.
The Texas A&M game was a great example of that. 21 of 33 for 321 and 3 touchdowns, a long of 52. Against Arkansas, just 10 of 21. 10 of 21. He was less than 50% completion. But he threw a 79-yard touchdown pass. He threw for 238 and 2 scores on 10 completions for 238 yards. Against Tennessee, just 14 completions for 220 and 2 touchdowns. The long of 46. Meanwhile, in those 3 games, Milroe's rushing totals He's gone against A&M, 8 carries for negative 31. He was sacked 6 times, but his long was 12 yards. Against Arkansas, 11 for negative 19. He was sacked 5 times, but his long run against Arkansas was 7 yards. Against Tennessee, 9 carries for 3 yards, was sacked 4 times, but his long was 15. Jalen Milroe isn't running anymore. Teams are saying, we're just going to keep you here and make you throw it out of the pocket. And he's not very accurate. On the season, he's completed 64%. But again, that game against Arkansas, he completed 47% of his passes. Against Texas, 51% of his passes. 66% against Tennessee, was 14 of 21. He's not going to, Jalen Milroe isn't going to go 28 of 33. He might go 10 of 21, but if 2 of those completions are for 50 plus, that's how he's beating you. So the key is for LSU, you got to do what everybody else has done. Take advantage of a bad Alabama offensive line and pressure Jalen Milroe. And contain him. Don't let him bust off a 70-yard run. They're not going to have designed run plays for Jalen Milroe. That's not what they do anymore. They're going to run in their traditional sets with McClellan and with Williams, two good running backs. And Milroe's going to scramble when he has to. But over the last month of the season, that hasn't been what's beaten teams. It's been good defense and connecting on the deep ball when he's had that opportunity. This is a game where LSU's defensive front, you control that running game so you don't have to commit numbers to the box, because if you have to commit numbers to the box to control the running game, now you're vulnerable on the back end. And if this LSU defense is vulnerable on the back end, you're going to give up big plays. Can you stop the run? Can you contain Milroe with your base formation? And can your safeties play big and not prevent the big 50, 60, 70-yard pass play? For LSU's defense, it's that simple. Executing it is a very different question, and we'll see on Saturday if they're able to down your best cover corner in Zy Alexander, running a bunch of freshmen out there. That's the blueprint. Brian Kelly told you. It's not going to be Jalen Milroe running the ball. It's going to be Jalen Milroe throwing the deep ball, and can you stop that deep connection, the one play big bomb, because he's really good at it. And a real credit to Tommy Rees for evolving as the season has gone along to realize what they do well, because in the first month of the season, this offense was not good. And I'm not telling you they're great now, but their offense has become efficient enough to complement a really good defense and allowed them to be undefeated right now in conference play in the driver's seat in the SEC West, with LSU coming in on Saturday. All right. Monday show is always brought to you by Relief Windows. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. If you want to join us, you can. Email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. I mentioned this in the open. Our friends at Mockler Beverage are giving us 3 tickets to Saturday's game to give away. All you got to do is go to social media, Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram. Share your favorite Bama Hate Week photo or video. And make sure you tag me, at Matt Moscona, and tag Mockler Beverage. Tag me, tag Mockler, use the hashtag Bama Hate Week. Again, tag me, tag Mockler, use the hashtag Bama Hate Week. And our friends at Mockler are giving away 3 tickets to Saturday's game in Tuscaloosa. We're looking forward to it. We'll announce the winner on Wednesday. So y'all get after it. It's Bama Hate Week, y'all. Let's see them post on social. Okay, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. We'll come back, get some of your calls, texts, emails, tweets. Also, let's hear a little bit about what Dennis Allen had to say coming off a win, which might have saved the Saints season on Sunday in Indy. We'll continue here on AFR.
AFR.
Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. I'll remind you, 2 weeks ago, the state of Louisiana opened up their second round of grants for fortified roofs. If you're interested, Louisiana homeowners can get up to $10,000 in grant money to fortify your roof. If interested, go to HudcoRoofing.com. That's HudcoRoofing.com. Click the green Fortified button right there on the homepage. You'll get more info about fortified roofs. You'll see the contact form on the homepage, we can absolutely help you through that process of getting your fortified roof grant. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Also, commercial building owners. If you got a flat roof, you got a metal roof, HUDCO has a silicone coating product. It's roughly half the cost of a roof replacement that comes with a 20-year warranty. So you want to extend the life of that roof for 20 years for half the cost? We can help. HUDCOroofing.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is celebrating Ram Power Days with $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 1500 trucks, $15,000 off, and a 1 million mile warranty. Plus, we'll pay your trade-off regardless of what you owe. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
We'll get to our college football takeaways here in just a quick second. Of course, not only from the LSU side, but from the Alabama side, previewing the matchup. Nick Sabin met with reporters earlier today, and as you'd imagine, Nick Sabin had glowing praise for LSU's Jaden Daniels, who is creeping up the Heisman odds list.
Well, he killed us last year, so, I mean, guys was a really, really good player last year. He's a really, really good player now. I think, overall, they execute their offenses to perfection, and it starts with him because he makes the right reads relative to runs and passes and, zone option plays and pass down plays. He's very good at reading coverages, makes really quick decisions. So all those things were evident last year, I think, by the way he played, and I think he's probably even better, now because he has even more experience and knowledge in the offense, and they've got really good players around him.
I was doing an interview earlier today on WJOX in Birmingham on Three Man Front, and I was talking to the guys, Pat Smith, who was with us on Friday, and Landrum Roberts, and they were asking me about Jayden Daniels, and the question kind of was framed in was it a down year in the SEC? And I reminded them that yes, of course I think it's a down year in the SEC, but part of that is the reason that I picked LSU to win the SEC when we were in Nashville back in July. It wasn't like a giant homer take or anything like that. I just looked around the conference and said it's the worst quarterback year in the league since 2014, and LSU's got a really, really good one who, like we saw Mettenberger do and Burrow do, sort of take that step in their second full year as a starter at LSU. And if he does that, he's really going to distance himself from the rest of the league, and he's done that. Now, I didn't think Daniels would have the type of season he's had. That would have been very hard to predict. But I'm not surprised that Daniels is the best quarterback in the SEC. He was the preseason first-team All-SEC quarterback. To this degree, yes, I don't think many of us or any of us really projected it would be to this degree. But Jayden has a massive opportunity on Saturday. The updated Heisman odds, it flipped. Remember, J.J. McCarthy last week had taken over as the Heisman odds-on favorite. Michael Penix is now back with the best odds at plus 280, followed by McCarthy at plus 300, and then it's Jayden at plus 400. Followed by Bo Nix at plus 600 and Jordan Travis at plus 800, and then a big drop-off before you get to Marvin Harrison Jr. at plus 1,200. So really what you're looking at is your top five, which are all quarterbacks, and in order of odds, it's Penix, McCarthy, Daniels, Nix, and Travis. And look, Penix and McCarthy and Travis are quarterbacks of undefeated teams. Bo Nix and Oregon have the one loss to Washington. Jayden Daniels is quarterback of a two-loss team. But the really interesting thing is, as you start to look around, what media are saying is most media right now, there's a consensus that Daniels would be their favorite. Now, I understand from an odds perspective, the odds makers aren't looking at it today. They're saying who realistically has the best chance to win it. And if LSU loses on Saturday and takes a third loss, then Jayden Daniels isn't going to win the trophy as a three-loss, as a quarterback of a three-loss team. So that's probably what they're banking on. But if LSU does win on Saturday, Jayden Daniels on Monday will be the new odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. And if LSU wins the next three games against Florida, Georgia State, and Texas A&M, Jayden Daniels will win the Heisman Trophy. I'll make that maybe not so bold proclamation, but if LSU wins out, meaning beats Bama, Florida, Georgia State, A&M, Jayden Daniels is going to win the Heisman Trophy. I can't say definitively that I believe that's going to happen, because I don't know that what we've seen from the defense the last 2 weeks is legitimate, or if it's fool's gold because you were playing bad offenses, similar to Florida. Florida's offense looked like they had maybe turned the corner, but it was against Vanderbilt and South Carolina. Then they ran up against Georgia, and we saw what happened. So I'm still going to be a bit skeptical on the LSU defense. It doesn't mean LSU can't go win this game. And if they do it, it's going to be because of Jayden Daniels. If they do, he'll have his Heisman moment, and that'll pace him toward winning the trophy. And Brian Kelly was asked about that today, about Jayden Daniels having the opportunity to win the Heisman Trophy with a good game against Alabama.
it'll be part of the body of work throughout the entire season. You know, he's going to have other games. He's going to have the Florida game and Georgia State and Texas A&M and postseason, but it'll certainly be part of the body of work. If he throws 4 interceptions and, you know, certainly we don't play well, that will be part of the body of work throughout the entire season. So again, I don't know that it's one game that makes or breaks a Heisman. I think it's the body of work, and I think we're seeing that as the season, you know, plays out. But certainly, you know, he's going to be judged on the entire season, and there'll be a lot of eyes certainly on this particular game.
Boy, it'd be awesome. It would just be awesome if Jaden went out and threw for 350 and 3 touchdowns and ran for another 50, 60 yards and a score, and LSU gets this win, because it would put him on pace to win it. And what an amazing accomplishment that would be if LSU, which had been just a quarterback graveyard for a decade, man, from the time we saw Jamarcus and Matt Flynn. I mean, this place. Do you even remember? Do you even remember like what it was like? That every year LSU was in the triple digits in passing offense? That seems like such a distant memory now. Like the fact that LSU, there were jokes about LSU completing a forward pass. I remember when Ed Ogeron's first game as the interim head coach in 2016, and they came out and they slung one to, I think to Deshaun Smith or something like that, passed to the tight end for like 25 yards. And Tiger Stadium just erupted in almost this sarcastic cheer, because it's like, holy crap, we got a passing game. I mean, that feels like it almost feels like a different lifetime. Joe Burrow completely changed the way we look at offense here, and Jaden Daniels is having a hell of a year. I mean, but for Burrow in 2019, we would be looking at the greatest season offensively in the history of LSU football. Man, would love it if they didn't waste it Saturday in Tuscaloosa. All right, we're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. 30 different offices across 11 different states. If you weigh or measure something, our friends at Michelli can help. They sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. Get on by Michelli.com. Michelli.com. You could ship your equipment to Michelli's calibration labs. You want to be more efficient, save time. Michelli can help you with that. I mean, think about it. Everything from industrial scales to weigh vehicles. If you're a farmer and you need to weigh your crops, you need those scales calibrated. You're at the airport, you're weighing your luggage. Look to the side. You see a little green and blue Michelli sticker right there. Or if you need precision measurement devices calibrated, Michelli can help. Go to the website. ISO 17025 accreditation is available. Their track system allows you 24/7, 365 access to all of those calibration certificates. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Michelli.com. We're going to get to our college football takeaways coming up in the next segment. The Saints get the win in Indianapolis on Sunday. I've characterized it as the game that I think could be the turning point of the Saints season. If, in fact, they do go on to win the division, make the playoffs, I think we'll look back at a team that was on a 3-game losing streak, was 3-4, had so much negativity and noise around the coaching staff, the quarterback, the organization as a whole. My hand is in the air. And was down double digits in the second quarter at Indianapolis against the Colts. And then from that point on, outscored Indianapolis 31-10 to win by double digits. And now you get to play the Bears and the Vikings with backup quarterbacks. That may be the game and the moment that we look back on and say that's when the turning point for the season came. And Dennis Allen, play number 7, please. Dennis Allen, after the game, kind of acknowledged that this was something that was needed by everybody.
I think we all needed a game like this. You know, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the offense, but like we needed to win, you know, and we got one. We got one as a team. And so there was a lot to like. There were some things that weren't up to our standard. And so, look, we're going to enjoy this, and then we got to get back to work, and we got another, big game this week against Chicago coming into our place.
Derek Carr kind of said the same thing about, like, when was asked, like, did you need this one today?
I think it was good because, we have a lot of young players. We also have a lot of guys that have played a lot of football. And usually when you play a lot of football, you know how this thing goes. If you just keep working, everybody's doing the right thing, you'll end up having a day like that. But sometimes, some guys haven't experienced much. Like, gosh, what's happening? And I thought today was a great example of just us continuing to work, us continue to trust and come together, which we're still going to keep doing this week. Keep coming together, keep trusting each other, keep just trying to do our job. It's that simple. But yeah, I felt like we needed that because I thought we did a great job of in the week going like this. So then the fruition of it, having points and having yards and all that, it feels good.
The Saints and the Falcons both tied atop the division at 4-4. Of course, the Saints get the Bears at home. It is worth noting that the Falcons this week get the Vikings at home, and so they'll get the first crack at Minnesota without Kirk Cousins. So yes, it's a favorable matchup for New Orleans with Chicago and a backup quarterback coming in, but Atlanta has a favorable matchup as well at home against Minnesota with a backup quarterback. So if you're the Saints, this is one. If you are really going to be a contender, not only to win your division, to make a playoff run, this is the type of game you've got to win. You've got to be able to beat Chicago on your home field on Sunday. We'll see if they can. We'll preview it as we get closer and closer throughout the week. All right, it's After Further Review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. Let me knock out a quick break, and we'll come back to our college football takeaways. We get Otter Locks in here. Glad you're aboard. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, two amazing hotel properties. The Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown, that's right there on Bluebonnet. And inside of the Renaissance on Bluebonnet, that, of course, is where you'll find Tallulah. Not just a hotel restaurant, but a casual upscale dining experience inside of the Renaissance Hotel, an award-winning casual dining experience. Of course, at the Baton Rouge's Epicurean Society event of Bon Fête Fête Rouge a few weeks back, Chef Jason Hebert took the gold medal at that event. Go try their bone-in pork chop. I'm telling you, they have a picture of it on the Tallulah Facebook page if you want to go try it. I'm just telling you, when you want to talk about eating gourmet upscale dining at a casual dining price, affordable lunch and great dinners, it's Tallulah. Check it out tonight. Tallulah, inside the Renaissance Hotel.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Well, it is officially official. The graphic says so. The Matchular is happening. Oh, yes. Hit me with a little Matchular music, Muse.
This is the best I got on that, but we're gonna roll with it here.
Oh.
I think this says it was Bachelor in Paradise. I don't know. I've never watched The Bachelor in my life. I will say that's a pretty handsome guy on that graphic, though. That's good stuff.
So, what started as a very odd stream of consciousness on-air discussion, thanks to one of you, a listener who pointed out to me that the band Aqua, who sings Barbie Girl, hit the Barbie Girl thing if you would, Muse. Yeah. The band Aqua is coming to the Fillmore in New Orleans on November the 26th. If you were not here for it, Muse and I had a very random on-air back and forth as I was like, Muse, you got to go to the show. I'm hooking you up with a blind date. We'll get it sponsored. If I can, I'll foot the bill. Well, friend, sponsors have come out of the woodworks.
And we're very thankful for that.
Muse, I am so happy to report, thanks to Michelle Southern of Eagle 98.1 and our friends at Live Nation who are putting on the Aqua show at the Fillmore, not only are you and your special lady going to the show,
yeah,
we have secured you 2 VIP table tickets.
Shout
for the
out.
Aqua show.
Let's go.
Okay. Our friends at 7-3 Distilling have one of the big Sprinter vans, the decked out, the Sprinter vans. Like, yeah, I mean, you've seen those before, right? People who go to like party bus type vans.
Party, but yeah.
They are allowing the usage of, they're going to drive you all in their party bus van. So shout out 7-3 Distilling. Our buddy Burke Harriman at the original Harriman's florist is providing the flowers for you to give to the lovely lady that wins. Wins.
Wow.
And by the way,
yeah, we're gonna take it there.
And dinner will be accompanied as well. Gordy said we'll get it taken care of. He's got an idea. Got to make a call, but we're gonna get that's probably the easiest part of this whole thing is getting dinner taken care of. So. The graphic is done. Graphic looks really good too.
Graphic's solid.
For the Matchular, as in Matt Muso.
We're gonna have to work on the theme music for this segment then. This is not the
Well, the only other thing we can do is play Aqua songs. This is the point of The Bachelor.
Why don't we just play a bunch of different love songs?
Get me the Bachelor theme music then.
Well, I was trying to. That's what I said, we'll workshop this.
Okay, we'll workshop.
But they might have a new theme every year.
So the good news is it's happening. The show's November the 26th. The entry form will be online, I believe, Wednesday the 1st. So, ladies, if you would love to attend the Aqua show with our friend Muse here, at a VIP table.
VIP table.
Complimentary dinner, transportation, flowers, all that stuff. And all you have to do is spend an evening with me. I'm not going to say night. Spend an evening with Muse.
Easy there.
That's all you got to do. We'll have a way to enter, I believe, live on our website by Wednesday. And we're gonna pick a great winner, Muse. and it's going to be the first Mrs. Matthew Musso.
How about the only? How about that?
In this day and age, Muse, you just never know.
I mean, look.
So,
company's not bad either. I mean, you named all the great things like a table and everything. You kind of left me out there, so I'll go ahead and mention that.
You gonna wear a hat?
No, I'm not gonna wear a hat.
I've never seen you without a hat.
That's not even remotely true.
In this picture, you're not wearing a hat right
Boom.
there.
Boom. So that's one strike against you.
It's the only time you've ever not worn a hat.
I've actually barely worn a hat the last 2 months.
Paulie, is that true? That doesn't seem true.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Of course you wouldn't, Paulie.
I mean, you wear a hat every day.
It's not true.
You usually wear a hat or don't wear a hat after a fresh haircut. And then
that is true.
2 days later, it's back to the hat.
That is true.
Look how observant Paulie is.
But see, I've been showering.
Maybe Paulie should go on the date.
I've been showering in the morning more recently, so I don't wear a hat then.
You only shower once a day?
Yeah, normally. Like if I'll shower in the morning, I sit in this studio all day, and then I wake up the next day and shower.
You
again.
don't shower at night?
No, not normally.
Paulie, are you a 1 shower or 2 shower a day guy?
It depends on the day.
Yeah,
this is blowing my mind.
Most of the time too,
How could you get in your bed? All right, kill the music.
Yeah, thank the Lord. That is just so
We got to
bad.
do our college football takeaways, but this is blowing my mind. I make this a poll question, please.
Okay.
How many times a day do you shower? 1, 2, I guess 0, 1, 2.
Don't do that.
More. I could not fathom, after spending all day at work, public places, handshaking, high-fiving, fist-bumping, hugging, whatever, restaurants, public places, opening doors, your dead skin. I cannot imagine getting into my bed without being clean. I would actually say I'd rather you not shower in the morning, shower at night, get into your bed clean, wake up, deodorant, body spray, whatever, all that stuff. Not showering at night, getting into your bed without showering feels disgusting to me.
That's very interesting. I
do agree with that.
Oh.
I mean,
I'm not sitting here.
I wash my hands regularly throughout the day and all of that
Everybody
as well. No, we learned that a few years ago that not everybody does that.
People wash their hands. Or sanitize or whatever. That doesn't, your body sheds layers of skin, and even if you're washing your hands, you're still coming in contact with filth. Think Mario has been in that chair for hours. And then Casey, and then whoever else might have been, who knows, touching that mouse and that keyboard, and oh no, Muse.
It's hands. Everything else I'm wearing clothes.
No, it doesn't matter. And you have layers of dead skin, and you have oil, and just dander in the
face
air,
every night.
and oh no. I would love to, there has to have been some type of study done on this. Do people how many times a day do people bathe or shower? I just cannot imagine getting into bed without.
So you're
showering.
a twice a dayer.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I shower before I go to bed, and then I wake up in the morning and I go work out, and then I come home and I shower, or I shower after I work out. So I mean that's a must. I mean.
Well, yeah. I mean, of course,
mess.
naturally, yeah. You don't. Yeah.
Muse, don't tell your date on The Bachelor that you're a once-a-day showerer.
I feel like most guys are once-a-day showerers. Maybe
like,
I'm wrong, but I feel like that's most guys. Most guys I know are.
I feel like you're a 29-year-old bachelor is what I feel like. That is sort of unfathomable to me. Huh. All right, let me know if I'm wrong.
You think that's only because I shower once a day?
What?
I'm a 29-year-old bachelor?
No, I think your viewpoint in life as a single man at 29 doesn't lead you to feel it necessary to shower multiple times a day. That would be my point. And I got to know the answer to this. So, like, when I was 15, I probably did want to shower twice a day. But I'm not 15. We missed college football takeaways.
We did.
You can bet at DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Get onto the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Y'all download it right now. Otter's coming up. This is the perfect time. Otter's coming up right after the break. He's going to give us our plays for tonight. We got Monday Night Football. You better believe the Otter's going to have a play for Monday Night Football. If you want to bet on football or really Want to bet on the NBA? This is a great time. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 bet on the NBA. Anything. Futures bet, money line, total, prop bet. How many three-pointers is Steph going to make tonight against the Pels? Whatever it may be, get on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. New customers make a $5 bet. They'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensing partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. Oh, my goodness. Anybody? Let's see. Michael Oob, once a day is disgusting. Heath Savoy, once in the morning, once at night. Glenn Reese, every night I shower before bed. Those are the first texts that came in on the text line.
Okay, is that a once or a? I mean, he said every night I shower before bed. What about when you wake up in the morning? Is that just a one guy?
I just
one time
can't
a day?
imagine not showering before bed.
Early?
My concession would be if you're going to shower once a day, I'd rather you shower at night before you get into bed because that's gross. All right, it's after further review. I'm sorry we missed college football takeaways because we started talking about the Bachelor. Let's get to Otter Locks next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers. Hey, if you need a place to watch Monday Night Football and eat a ton of award-winning jumbo chicken wings for one low price, you know where to go. Pluckers. Either location, Nicholson just south of campus, Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. What's your favorite flavor? Say it out loud with me. If you're driving in your car, wherever you are right now, sitting at your desk, what's your favorite wing sauce flavor? Muse, what's your favorite wing sauce flavor? Shout it out.
Spicy Ranch.
Paulie, what's your favorite wing sauce flavor?
I go lemon pepper.
Garlic parm. Let's go. It's at Pluckers. Find your favorite tonight because it's all you can eat wings. Pay one low price. Pay one low price. Eat as many wings as you want all night long. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet, right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. You got Monday Night Football. You got the Pels on the road at Golden State. You want to watch the NBA, the NHL, all of your sports action while eating award-winning jumbo chicken wings. It's Pluckers. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It was a humid day. Barefoot children play. Looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Sabin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Sabin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the country.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Outfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how many times a day do you shower?
Once or twice.
Once or twice. Okay.
Depends.
All right. Depends on what?
Some are more often, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
If you shower once, would you shower in the morning or in the evening?
Well, definitely in the morning. So.
You would get in your bed without having taken a shower?
Sometimes.
Ooh.
You know. Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm clean though, Matt. If I've exercised, no, of course not.
All right. Just interested. I'm just curious. All right. What are we betting on tonight, Otter?
Golly, where'd this come from?
Well, you just came in on the tail end of a conversation we were having last segment.
I got you. Sometimes this summer, as many as 3 times a day.
There you go. I can't fathom getting into bed without having taken a shower. That's my only point.
Gotcha.
All right, what do we got tonight? Lions are a 7-point favorite at home, and the Raiders stink. This is an easy one, right?
Yeah, it seems easy, and I'm on the public side on this one. Massive public side on Detroit for this one. But, I think it's just a case where the Lions haven't been, they haven't been on Monday Night Football in 5 years. So they're kind of excited. They have a little juice in the stadium. It's been popping lately. You see more Lions fans on the road. It's been a long time since they've been this good. And so they could take a stranglehold, especially Cousins out for the year now. They sense a little, blood in the water, and I think they're going to take care of the Raiders tonight. Raiders really struggling with their offense as well. So I'm laying the 7. That's not my favorite play tonight, though. I'm going to go to the World Series for my favorite play, and that's a shorter sample.
1 minute remaining.
A long-term sample, and that is Brandon Pott has been much better than Max Scherzer in the postseason. Scherzer's still not 100%. And Pott, he's been dominant, man. Really, really good. And in this postseason against a pretty good lineup, like the Dodgers, like the Phillies, he was probably the difference in that Phillies series. So I like him minus 108 tonight.
All right. Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
We are at Mike Anderson.
All right. Sorry. Very good. Have a great night, Otter. We appreciate it.
See you.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, let me remind you about Traction. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Hey, parents, Wednesday is the Traction Infielders program. I know a lot of people have been keeping an eye on this. It starts on Wednesday. The catchers program, completely full. It's sold out. Was talking to Eddie over at Traction earlier today. There are a few slots open with Coach Brent Boyd in the infielders program, which starts on Wednesday. It's a 6-session program, footwork, body control, mechanics, hand placement. It's Mondays and Wednesdays, starting this Wednesday, running through November the 20th from 5 to 6:30 p.m., ages 13 to 18 for the varsity, ages 9 to 12 for the JV. So you can check it out right now at TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Again, the infielders program starting Wednesday. Traction, where champions are made.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.